It's time to put up or shut up. And I tell you what, I can't wait for the second part of that to happen to a certain quarterback donning black and gold on Saturday night. It is time. Put the jaw on the side. We got to play football on Saturday. South Carolina versus Vanderbilt. Preview and prediction starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler. It is Thursday night. We got a great episode. I got a special guest coming your way, and we got a full preview and prediction of the South Carolina Vandy game. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to everyone making Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers. Remember, we're a free and available podcast wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Let's get started. I'm fired up. I feel like I say that a lot, but I am very fired up about tonight. Not just because we have a phenomenal guest who's about to join us, but because we get to preview and predict, I think, the biggest game of the weekend. I really do. I don't feel like I'm just saying that and it's just something, just words, right? Like, I think there's a lot of substance to it, and I'm very excited to talk about it. So what we're going to talk about, obviously, break down the South Carolina versus Vanderbilt game. We're going to bring our special guest, Mike Bratton, in here in a second. We'll do that. We'll get his opinions on it, talk about the keys to it. I'll give you three things that South Carolina has to do to win this game. And they're not going to be the same three as last week or the week before. So get excited about that. And then also, we are going to talk about score prediction for the game as well. So without further ado, let's bring in my good buddy, Mike Bratton. All right, we're happy to be joined by Mike Bratton, a.k.a. SEC Mike. And I'm glad you're here, not because of that scary face you're making right now, but because you're not wearing that stupid hat. Who dressed you this morning? Was it Jason Mraz, or was it an Old Navy mannequin from 2009?
Dude, I love his hat.
That is...
It doesn't really work with the headphones, but...
It doesn't work at all, Mike. It doesn't work at all.
This is my beach hat.
I'll tell you what does work, and that's you a lot. You rarely stop working. God,
yes. Carry on.
It's a big weekend, dude. There's Georgia, Tennessee. There's LSU, Florida. Ole Miss hosts Arkansas. I don't feel like I'm crazy in saying this. I think this is the best game of the weekend because I think it's the two most evenly matched teams. I know what the line is on Georgia, Tennessee. I also know that from somebody that just like you grew up watching SEC games and traditions like that. This doesn't have a ton of tradition, but it feels like this game is going to be a lot bigger than people are talking about. What are you most excited about with this game this weekend?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm sure your audience is well aware, but it was old Mr. Diego Pavia, who I would imagine is not very popular on the Locked On Gamecocks show. But, he said that this was the game he was wanted more than anything. And I don't know where in the world he came up with that.
Yeah.
Maybe just because South Carolina always whoops Vanderbilt. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But the fact that they were already pinpointing this game back in the summer, and now Vanderbilt's 2-0, which I don't think many of us saw coming, just adds to this game. Vanderbilt seemingly trending up, Carolina seemingly trending down, but all those narratives can be smashed on Saturday in Williams-Brice Stadium if the Gamecocks come away with a big win, kind of send Vanderbilt back to the cellar and send South Carolina back to the penthouse. That could very, very well could happen this weekend.
I think it's crazy. They are trending down after that 28-point win this weekend, which is fun for South Carolina. I think looking at this game, the quarterback matchup is obviously what gets all the headlines. I'm just now seeing your SEC Week 3 predictions graphic, so don't ever say that our phones aren't listening to us, and do not raise your eyebrows like that. You look like Captain Hook. I wish that all of you could be seeing what I'm seeing right now. Or actually,
wait, are we not on video?
No, we are on video, but I'm also doing audio. Oh, okay. So for that audience, good for you. So I'm looking at the graphic right now. I think Man, I think there's some really big games this weekend. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to this one. And the narrative or the talking point about this one has just been the quarterback, right? It's been the quarterbacks for each of these schools. My question to you is what is on Sunday or on Monday when we're talking about this game and whoever won it, what do you think the storyline is going to be outside of the quarterback play?
How well South Carolina can protect LaNorris Sellers.
Yep.
Because they have already allowed 12 tackles for loss, I believe is the statistic, which is something like 89th, 85th in the country.
Nice, not 90th.
Meanwhile, Vanderbilt has only allowed 2 tackles for loss. Now, they play a completely different style.
Yeah.
They're running like a shotgun triple option, so there's not a ton of opportunities to get tackles for loss in an offense like that. But with a totally retooled offensive line, I would kind of think it would be the other way around for Vanderbilt. So, how well they can protect Sellers, who, with South Carolina offense not performing as to expected, again, you said it yourself. We just look at the quarterbacks.
Right.
That's not on Sellers. I mean, I don't care if you're freaking Tom Brady or Joe Montana. You cannot play if your offensive line's not protecting you. And heck,
Montana was a quarterback, you idiot.
Exactly. And I mean, heck, even a lot of times when Sellers is putting the ball on the money, passes are being dropped or refs are saying touchdowns or not touchdowns. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's a combination of all the different things. But South Carolina is really not that far away. Heck, there's plays to be made there. We just got to read the field a little bit better, execute. That's Sellers. That's the offensive line. It's the receivers. They got all the talent in the world. They should beat Vanderbilt. But I'm just, if you haven't watched Vanderbilt, they're playing better than I've ever seen Vanderbilt play, which that's really not saying much, but I think it's accurate.
It's a 9-win team a couple years ago or a decade or so ago with James Franklin. Like Vanderbilt, we talk about Arkansas all the time. How Arkansas won that little mini run under currently the OC. Why am I drawing a blank on this?
For which team now? I was not paying attention.
Petrino. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Take off the which team? I wasn't paying attention to the interview I'm giving. Petrino having the 2-year success he had at Arkansas, where they won like back-to-back 10-win games, whatever. Vanderbilt had something similar to that, right? Like Vanderbilt had something similar to that, and they were able to get 9 wins, I think, back-to-back under James Franklin. They've had success. I don't think it's crazy to say this is the most impressive Vanderbilt team they've had.
But also at the same, I just saw an image of me there. No, but also at the same time, we got Vanderbilt. They did nice things, right? But also Georgia was down, Florida was down, Tennessee was down. It was like historically bad SEC East that they feasted on. So I always kind of go back to that. Being a Tennessee grad, I have to complain about the 2 years Vanderbilt was good in their 150 years of existence. But I just think I really like what Clark Lee is doing.
Right.
And his staff, I think, has done a tremendous job for Vanderbilt standards. And case in point, Chris, they really did a good job when they first got there of finding talent and developing it. Problem for them is the portal came along that they didn't anticipate, right. And everyone just rated. I mean, LSU, Colorado, all these teams just rated their roster, and they had to start from scratch. And they just decided, well, heck, we'll just import New Mexico State's roster, and quite frankly, it's worked out for them.
Yeah, the Command V copy paste they did from that was a pretty smart move. South Carolina's done a good job being able to evaluate and then develop the talent as well. Especially from the portal. What is a part of this team that you don't think is getting enough love right now? Because obviously Sellers gets a lot of the attention. Dylan Stewart gets a lot of the attention, deservingly so. And also Vakari Swain has been a revelation at returning punts. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Mike. I don't think he finishes the season returning a punt and a half a game for a touchdown. I don't think he ends up with 1.5 touchdowns in punt returns per game to close out the year. I don't see that happening. But I will say there's a lot of other strengths on this team, especially defensively, that I don't think people thought they were going to see, especially this early on. What's a strength that we're not talking enough about?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think he'll only average 1 punt return touchdown.
What if he did?
Per game?
He had won every game.
I mean, he is SEC Special Teams Player of the Year. Heck, I don't know if they give out a National Special Teams Player of the Year, but they should. To Swain, I mean, he's got that on lockdown at this point in time. But it's, I kid, but it's the whole operation. You were on my show
Right.
this week, and it's to me, I think the most impressive thing is the entire special teams, because that was a point of emphasis: new kicker, new punter, new returners, new snappers, new holders. Right. The entire operation was new, and I said it time and time again. South Carolina's going to get into some of these games where special teams is going to be the difference. It always is the case. And that was a big red flag for me is how this unit would look. And I think the special teams has looked like $1 million for the most part. So, that concern, and this is probably going to be one of those games, Chris, where special teams, I think it's going to be a low scoring game that is clearly a one possession. And the point spread indicates that. It could very well be a kick or a punt or a kick return or punt return that wins Carolina this football game.
All right, so we're going to keep talking with our buddy Mike after this. Before we do, we're gonna pay some bills here, and we're going to talk a little bit about our friends at DoorDash. So I tell you what, it's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Mike, I'm going to let you do this and join in on the fun here. I'm not going to pay you for it. But you tell me South Carolina's MVP and player of the week from last week. Who delivered most?
Oh, Swain. I mean, he broke open the game, didn't he? I mean, 2 touchdowns in the first half. It's more than the entire offense generated in the first half. So it's got to be him.
It was like 14-3. I think they had 7 yards of offense or something terrible. So it was tough. Thank God for Ricari Swain. Print the shirts. I tell you what, his 2 punt returns were huge, but when the pressure was on, he came through. No hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance was not a fluke. Ricari Swain is on a streak. I tell you what, just like Ricari Swain delivered for South Carolina, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday, you order, stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. I tell you what, I am excited for the rest of the show because you finally get your hair out of your eyes. We're going to come back from break, and hopefully this hat will be gone, and Mike Bratton will still be with us. Locked On Gamecocks continues right for this. We're back. I hate you so much. All right, Michael. Let's break down this game. And I think the most important things, I think there's 3 keys to this victory for if South Carolina's going to win. I think there's the obvious stuff early is what I'll say. Turnovers. This team is they win 78% of the games under Shane Beamer when they win or they're even in the turnover battle. That is a cliche, low-hanging fruit stat that I feel like probably is the same for a lot, but it's been very much the case when it comes to South Carolina winning games under Shane Beamer. Ooh, that's a good one. The other one that I think is huge, getting in short down distances on third down. Whichever team can stay ahead of the chains and not behind them. And so far through 2 games, Vanderbilt has been that team. South Carolina has not. Same really with the turnover thing. I think that's a more of an immovable force meets a whatever you call an object. I'm not great with phrases. I think that's more so. Like Vandy had 7 total turnovers last year. It was the fewest in the entire country. South Carolina, obviously, under Clayton White, they've had the most turnovers forced in the last 4 years. So I think that's one of the reasons why the turnover thing is key. Figuring out a way to get in 3rd and short and not have LaNorris Sellers have to put on the cape for all 4 quarters. That's huge. That's right. And last but not least, my biggest key to the game is DoorDash. No, I'm kidding. It is the biggest key for me is explosive plays. South Carolina is at their best when they're able to have explosive plays. You saw it last year in this game. They had multiple receivers and also Rocket Sanders with several plays over 20 yards or more. Rocket Sanders had, I think, 15 carries and still racked up over 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. They were able to do it in the run game. They were able to do it in the passing game. I'm going to give you a hot take. I think that LaNorris Sellers throws the ball 30 times this game.
Whoa.
I think that they cannot beat their head against the wall. And I'm not saying because they have to play from behind. I probably shouldn't have given that caveat because then I could have been right if they lost. Right. But I think that if they we'll cut this part out if I'm wrong. No, I think that they will go into this game, and if they're not able to run the ball effectively, which is going to be tough against the Clark Lee defense, I don't think they're going to bang their head against the wall for that long. They've got too much talent receiver, and that's also the part of the game in the roster and the team they have put the least on tape. I think that's where they can really hurt Vanderbilt. What?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're going to out-athlete Vanderbilt. No, even though I've been very impressed with the job Clark Lee's done rebuilding that staff. But here's the deal: they essentially want to keep everything in front of them,
right?
Because they already know that. They know they're going to be out-athlete, but heck, you can try to keep everything in front of you, and then this guy named Nick Harbor is going to blow past everybody you have because he's just a super athlete. So, I think that'll be a huge key to this football game. But on the reverse side, I think Vanderbilt's got a lot of those guys too.
Yeah,
that's the difference I think for Vanderbilt this year. They were dink and dunk. They were chew up the clock. They were run the option. This year they have athletes. They went via the portal and got Trent Hudson from Mississippi State. He was formerly at New Mexico State. They got Trey Richardson, who committed to New Mexico State when this coaching staff was there. Again, I was not kidding when I said they just copy and pasted or imported New Mexico State's roster. They literally did. And, Vanderbilt's really got some weapons to work with. They have barely even used Eli Stowers this season.
Yeah.
And I think he's the best tight end in the entire country. So a lot of weapons for old Diego to utilize this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The reason I brought it up a little bit is the fact that it's not just for South Carolina. It's also with Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt is listen, Diego Pavia 11.2 or 10.9 yards per attempt. I think he leads the SEC in that. 9.23 yards per play, second in the conference in that. He has been explosive. But you saw it last year. How did you stop them? One of the ways that you were able to do that was Diego had 5.4 yards per attempt in that game. It's the second lowest output of that metric in the entire season. And I think that stuff kind of matters. And I think that's not how their offense has been this year. But they make it more dangerous because they have both those things in their back pocket where, listen, Vandy can run the clock and wilt you away like they did against Virginia Tech. They can also make some explosive plays. Mike, we're going to get you out of here because I can't stand to look at your face anymore. I'm kidding. I don't mean that. I love you to death. Give me your prediction. Nice. Give me one hot take and give me your prediction for this game.
Well, I was looking up some statistics while you were rambling there. Pavia is also number 2 in the SEC in passer rating.
Yeah.
Again, you nailed it. He's 10.9 yards per attempt, number 1 in the conference. He's 18th in rushing, and heck, he's a quarterback. So I'm a little disappointed, again, in Sellers, 13th in completion percentage in the conference.
Yeah.
We've already talked about the offensive line, but sacked 6 times the most in the SEC. So, hey, this ain't going to be popular. I'm trying to look like an idiot for a reason, so the people will dismiss me, and I think they'll be more fired up that I actually made this prediction based on my appearance and just my overall hygiene.
Demeanor.
Give me Vanderbilt 28, South Carolina 24.
Okay.
I think the streak comes to an end, but again, I have been wrong about basically every prediction I've made this football season. So congratulations, Gamecocks. Enjoy the win on Saturday night.
I love that, dude. I appreciate it. Tell everyone where they can find all your stuff. You're all over the place. You do a great job, and I'm very happy for your success. Not your hygiene, but your success. Yeah,
so we sell hats. It's That Hat Podcast. Check us out. I'm SEC Mike. I'm going to start selling hats here. And this
hat up.
This was just the reveal for my new business venture. But go check us out.
Hat Man. All right, dude. I appreciate you. We'll talk to you later. All right, that was Mike. Mike does great stuff. I should have never brought the hat. He wouldn't have worn it the whole time. But no, Mike's great. We appreciate him. Don't love the prediction. When we come back, I'm going to drop my truth bomb of what I think is going to happen, and I think you'll like it a little bit more than what Mike said. Just a hunch. Before we do, want to give a shout out to our friends at Mazda. That's right. We got to pay some bills, and there's not really anyone better to do it with than a Mazda. And I tell you what, Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IHS Top Safety Pick Awards than anyone else as of August 25th, okay? Or August 2025. More than anyone. From footwork to breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how they craft every model of their car. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every single crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. I tell you what, South Carolina fans, just like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Also want to give a shout out to our friends at FanDuel. I tell you what, NFL season's here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I tell you what, I love doing it because I can bet live games, I can bet live parlays, I can bet live props right at my fingertips. It's all there. You guys know I love betting a first half over. You guys know I love betting against first half team totals, all those things. I love South Carolina in this game this weekend. I'm going to take them on the money line, minus 180, and make myself some money. And I tell you what, that first $5 bet when you sign up, if it wins, when it wins, you will get $300 in free bonus bets. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We'll be right back with our final part of the preview and prediction episode for Vandy and South Carolina. I give you my prediction and tell you exactly what South Carolina is going to do to Vanderbilt this Saturday night. All right, gather around, because I'm fired up. That Virginia Tech game was awesome because it was the first game of the year. South Carolina State was a snooze fest for so many reasons going into it and so many reasons during it. But we finally got our first game of the year, where it's time for someone to challenge your manhood, test you, feel like your back's against the wall a little bit, and everybody outside of Columbia, South Carolina is talking about why Vanderbilt's going to upset this team. Every single player, every single person in the media talking about, oh my gosh, Diego Pavia said this. Look what they did against Virginia Tech. And they played fantastic against Virginia Tech. All of that's accurate. Not taking anything away from this team. Unlike a lot of players on this Vandy roster, I'm not going to sit here and discredit or dismiss or disrespect anyone in those four walls. What I am going to tell you is this. Diego Pavia calling out this team in the summer, saying this is the game they had circled, right? Bryce Henderson looks like Farva from what do you call it? From Super Troopers. He had this to say this week. Nobody really talks about the Commodores. Sure. And I think after we go in there and show these guys what's what, I think people are going to open their eyes up a little bit. All we know is we're going to play our football, and we know that we can beat them, and we're going to go in there and do it. Love the confidence. In this day and age, you have one thing that is more powerful than anything else. In this day and age in the world, silence. The loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. And the loudest one in the room is Vanderbilt. And they have made that clear time and time again. And I tell you what, I think they got a really good football team. I think that this is a really good chance of snapping the streak. I think they're going to come in here and they're not going to be scared and they're not going to be pushed around. And this is going to be a 60-minute dogfight. I really do. I think all of those things are accurate things. They are capable of walking into Willie B and walking out with a win. They are a good football team. But the loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. And all offseason, we've heard about this game being circled. And all week, we have heard people talk about why the line has dropped almost 3.5 points and how Vandy is this darling pick, the trendy upset pick. Nobody's talking about Vandy. It's the most we've ever talked about Vandy. What are you talking about, dude? It's the most we've ever talked about Vandy. But again, you can talk all the trash you want. I'm happy they're getting a little bit of the spotlight. Good for them. Good for Clark Lee. They deserve it. But talk all the trash you want on social media. All the trash you want on your message boards. Talk all the trash you want to in your interviews about what you're going to do in hypothetical situations before Saturday comes. But on Saturday night, you're going to walk into this stadium and they're going to lock those damn gates and you're going to have to line up and figure out a way to go beat LaNorris Sellers and stop LaNorris Sellers and somehow block Dylan Stewart. And every single other wave, a former 4-star or pick up like future NFL draft pick on defense that Clayton White is able to put out here and develop like it just did last year. And Fred Johnson coming down the middle. And then Justin Okoronkwo running sideline to sideline, eating up every bit of real estate you're trying to gain as an offense. Have fun throwing on the secondary. Have fun trying to chase after Nick Harbor, who after 2 weeks has been timed as the fastest player in the country with the fastest, miles per hour run of any athlete in all of FBS college football at over 23 miles an hour for 2 weeks in a row. Have fun chasing him. And while you're chasing him, have fun trying to stop any of the other receivers. Mazio, Rowe, Jaden Sellers, any of the tight ends, Mo, Mike. You can talk all the trash you want, but it's Saturday night. They're going to tee up that ball, and you got to go beat this team. And for 16 straight years, you have not been able to do it. So good luck. I think it's going to be a really good game. But I'll say it one more time. The loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. And you have done nothing but be as loud as possible all offseason. Final score, South Carolina 27, Vanderbilt 23. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Go Cox.